Good evening, everyone. It is so great to be home, to be back on the bluff, to be back in a place that we still call home to this very day, and especially for such a significant event in your senior experience. As Father Hogan mentioned, my name is Ralph Giovanni. To my right is Colleen McDonough. And reflecting on our message for tonight's soon-to-be graduates, Colleen and I became quite nostalgic. We realized that senior celebration really does start the mark of the culmination of your Duquesne experience, and we're so honored to be here with you this evening. Thank you to President Doherty, to Father Hogan, Tim Lewis, and the leaders of Omicron Delta Kappa for organizing this wonderful event and for inviting us to speak this evening. As students at Duquesne, as Father Hogan mentioned, Colin and I were really involved in everything from student government and Greek life to academic organizations and orientation. In fact, as we were preparing for tonight's speech, we realized that the last time Colin and I were on the same stage together in this room, we were terrifying incoming students with a rendition of the Bog Song, which you will not hear this evening, unfortunately. While many of you may still have been in high school, needless to say, we cherished our time at Duquesne, and we can state with full confidence that our Duquesne education has fully and entirely shaped who we are today. In addition to my student life responsibilities at Villanova, I teach a few courses in leadership and public speaking. And as I often tell my students, you never start a speech, especially for an occasion like this, with an apology. So with that being said, I would like to begin tonight's speech with my deepest and our deepest apologies. For those of you who came to senior celebration expecting to hear from a high-profile keynote CEO, or for those of you who brought your resume to slip onto our table after the event, we're sorry if we didn't meet your needs, but hopefully today, as recent graduates, we can offer something that might be of value to you. The experiences and insights that we have gained thus far during our life after Duquesne. Despite having matriculated in 2003 and 2004, which despite my bald spot isn't that long ago, it is shocking to consider how drastically things have changed in Duquesne. For instance, as incoming freshmen, we had an opportunity to purchase something called a Facebook. This book, which was literally a book, not a website, contained pictures and biographies and hometowns of the members of our incoming class. We were not able to investigate mutual friends, we were not able to identify someone's current location, and most importantly, we couldn't identify someone's relationship status. We continued to flip pages until the winter of 2005. The following year, the men's basketball team, the Dukes, finished their season with a record of 3-24. But look at how far we've come. I keep telling my colleagues at Villanova, and I promise you this, that one day when Duquesne's playing Villanova in a national championship, I will be wearing all of my Duquesne gear, covering my entire body. I promise you that. Additionally, the landscape of campus has transformed dramatically, as Brian mentioned. One significant addition is obviously the Power Center, which has added a restaurant unique to Duquesne, a state-of-the-art fitness center, a gorgeous ballroom with an impressive view, and the tallest skywalk in the city of Pittsburgh. And I can tell you that I sure am jealous. As quickly as these changes evolved, I'm sure you all would agree that your time at Duquesne has flown by. Nonetheless, despite our willingness to try to control, and despite our natural desire for life to remain the same, sometimes there really is no stopping change.
I applied to Duquesne on a whim. I met someone at a college fair, and he convinced me that I should apply. He told me about Duquesne's SLP program in speech-language pathology. He said that it was the first program in the nation to offer me a bachelor's and master's in 5 years. So I was already done my applications, but he had this enthusiasm and passion for the university that I now understand why he felt. So I applied, even though I swore that I would never, ever go to college more than 3 hours from my home in Philadelphia. So one acceptance letter, one visit to this campus, and one volunteer at a college fair changed everything. I finally accepted the first critical change of my young adult life and overcame my homesick feelings to start a life here at Duquesne. I lived in Pittsburgh for 5 years. I became a more independent student, friend, and daughter, as many of you all have through your time here. After receiving my master's degree, I began my professional career. I served students with multiple disabilities at a school in New Jersey. This change I planned on was what I had wanted all along. But another change that came with it, I hadn't necessarily planned on. After living with friends in residence halls and apartments for 5 years, I now had an opportunity to move in with 2 accommodating, supportive, and very nurturing roommates. And their names are Mom and Dad. In fact, as an increasing number of college graduates move back home with their parents, there's a new acronym for those of you who will join me in this. We're called KIPPERS, which stands for Kids in Parents' Pockets Eroding Retirement Savings. In all seriousness, although I hadn't really entertained the thought of moving home after graduation, it just made logistical and financial sense. So this is just another example of an unanticipated change to embrace after graduation. And to the parents out there, we've realized, and as someone that did it, we've realized that having an adult child move back home is a huge adjustment for you as well. They will move in with years of acquired clothing, most of which are free Duquesne t-shirts that you get from day one at the graffiti dance. And you won't understand why they have to keep them all, but I still cannot get rid of a Duquesne t-shirt. They'll have small appliances that you already have in your house, and you really don't need another blender or microwave, but why get rid of a good one? So now you have 2 or 3. They'll want to use your computer because their laptop just quit after how many really hard years of college. And they may even borrow your parking spot if they think that you won't be home for a little bit because you might have the best one. But there's also some perks. They might teach you how to DVR your favorite TV show, give you some good laughs as you watch them grow up, and become more of a friend than they've been in the past. Another area for Ralph and myself came in the form of a future spouse, as Father Hogan alluded to. We were best friends through undergrad. So I remember Ralph would tell me about his assumptions that he would marry an Italian girl with dark straight hair and tan skin. And I would tell him about growing up in Bucks County and hoping that one day I would meet a nice guy from Philadelphia to call my husband. And needless to say, things changed, and this pale Irish girl will take on the last name Gelati on July 16th, and I couldn't be happier. So, what does all of this mean for you? No matter what path you plan to pursue, embrace the change and ambiguity of life after graduation. Whether you are the agent of this change, or if you feel like you have completely lost control, understand that some of these changes are not temporary and that they will become constants. And sometimes you will look back and question how so many small, seemingly insignificant changes fully shaped who you are.
On Thursday, May 3rd, 2007, it was 2 days before I graduated, I did what any 21-year-old man would do. I walked into the empty Duquesne chapel, walked to the front of the chapel, kneeled in the spot where I would pray every Sunday night at 9 p.m. Mass, stared towards the altar in the quiet chapel, and I started crying. I started bawling. I feared the uncertainty of the next chapter of my life. I questioned my decision to attend graduate school right after Duquesne, and I prayed for the strength to step out of my comfort zone. As I often tell my senior students at Villanova, I wish there were orientation team leaders for life after college to facilitate with this transition. So, with that being said, if you would all allow us to, let us be your team leaders for life for the next few minutes. What we've done is we put together a list, as our team leaders did for us, before embarking on our Duquesne journey, Colleen and I put together a list of items to consider before you embark on this postgraduate journey.
First, consistently write down your goals. If pursuing graduate school, how many pages will you read each day? If pursuing a professional career, how will you meet your goals for the month? And if maybe pursuing a year of service, how will you inspire others and share your story? If you're unsure of your next step, what can you do to solidify a course of action?
We all know it's a competitive market. Support your resumes, your cover letters, and your interviews with specific stories and specific examples. Identify ways to stand out from the crowd. And
despite how painful it is, always open your mail from American Education Services. Do so in a timely manner, and they won't wait 6 months to contact you. If they haven't yet, they're coming soon. Even better, a small tip is to sign up for automatic deductions. You get a lower interest rate.
There are Duquesne alums all across the globe. Wear your Duquesne t-shirts, your hoodies, and your red ring with pride. And in case you do not have that wallet-sized mission statement card from freshman year, I'm sure Father Hogan has a whole abundance of them that he would be happy to lend out at the end of this event.
And relatedly, stay connected to your alma mater. Drop an email every now and then to your department. Let them know how you're doing, what you're doing. Ask for help. Return for homecoming and volunteer with your local alumni network. Ralph and I are both involved with the Philadelphia area chapter. And for anyone moving to our area after graduation, you're not alone. And we're actually having an event on June 11th in Manioc.
If you do not know how to cook, call your mom. In all seriousness, take risks and be willing to try new recipes in your free time. And trust me, for anyone that knows me, I'm really being a hypocrite in this role right now. I'm working on it, and it's a work in progress.
Or you can get married and hope that your fiancé knows how to cook. That wasn't written, so I'm sorry. You have undoubtedly formed some of the best friendships of your life during your time here. Believe it or not, these friendships can and will last, regardless of the stories that people tell you about letting them go. So despite your plans for life after graduation, be sure to make this a priority. Send emails, texts, phone calls, or Facebook messages. Plan weekend trips. Every now and then, even throw a piece of paper or card in the mail for a birthday or just to say hi. This will be a nice surprise amidst all of the bills you'll be getting and the friendly reminders from American Education Services. Cherish your Duquesne memories and be hoping to create new ones.